Hi everyone, Kelly here from Kellie Chasse Fine Art for a new episode of Creating with Kelly. So I really didn't like this background or the sky in this watercolor painting. So the question is, if you've done a painting and you are unhappy with it, can you go back in to change some of that out? Yes, you can, even if you have all the details in there. So today's video, we'll go over some corrections, lifting, fixing, removing paint mistakes, and we'll be doing a sky rework on this one. So stick around and I'll show you all the details. I do have full online classes. You can find them over there at my website at kellylynnart.com, where I have over 2,500 students in 85 different countries and over 24 online classes that have lifetime access. So head over there and check those out. I will be looking in the wrong spot. Over there. Welcome to my YouTube channel, where I have new videos every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you click that subscribe button and click the little bell and you'll never miss one. Well, hi everyone. Welcome if you're new to my channel. All right, so watercolor corrections, lifting, fixing, removing paint, mistakes, and how to rework your sky. I know we've all probably had paintings that we've done that we've been unhappy with, and this one is, I actually pulled this one out. I did this one a while ago, and I really didn't like the background. It was a cloudy, kind of overcast day, and it just really didn't do justice to the Portland headline. So I decided to rework this one, and I wanted to videotape it for you so that you could see that you definitely can rework watercolor. So the first thing you'll need is a oval wash brush and some clean water and a paper towel. And you can see here I'm taking the clean water and just re-wetting that surface area here in the sky, being very careful to work my way around the lighthouse. You don't want to get that wet. I've got some pen and ink going on in there, and we don't want anything to smear. So be really careful as you go around that. So I'm doing what they call is like a scrubbing technique. So I'm lifting that paint out, getting it wet, scrubbing it with my brush. Sorry about the camera. I've got it hanging up above me here, so I've got a little bit of motion. I'm using a little elbow grease to get that paint out. So I have gouache in here, as you can see. There's a little bit of whiteness to it or chalkiness to it. That is the white gouache paint. So we're going to be using some white gouache to put in some clouds once we get this removed. Now you can see that the paint is still somewhat stained, so it's a little bit gray or a yellow tint to it, but I'm going to add a real dark shade of blue over this, so you're not going to notice that quite as much. So I don't have to work too hard about lifting this out. Now obviously you're not going to get back down to white paper with this. You have to keep that in mind when you're layering this with another shade of color. But you can do a pretty good job. As the paper tends to get a little more wet, you want to be careful you're not scrubbing that too hard, because if you have like 90-pound, even 140, you can scrub that enough so that the paper will start to disintegrate a little bit. So you want to be careful that you don't want to mar your paper as you're working this. So if you need to do this a couple of times, you can lift it out, then get the blow dryer out, blow dry it, and then you could work it again. So try not to get it too wet while you're working this. I wanted to mention I do have all of these items. The brush that I'm using, for example, is the Robert Simmons 1/2-inch wash brush. It's an oval wash brush. So I'll put a link to all the supplies that I use for my videos, which I do in most videos, at the top in my Amazon shop. So if you're interested in trying any of these out, you can do so. And because I am an affiliate with Amazon, I do get a small portion of proceeds that helps me create more of these videos so I can buy more supplies. So that's much appreciated. So today I chose to use my Winsor Newton Artist brand watercolor set. This is a half pan, so it has 24 different colors in there, and this one comes in a metal box set, which I really like. It's got lots of different colors in here. I'm going to use a few different shades of blue. I want something that's fairly dark, again, so that I can cover up that more of a gray hue to it. For most of my watercolor classes, I use the Cotman Winsor Newton kit, which is perfectly fine. It's more of a student grade. This particular kit is an artist quality grade pigment, so you'll find that they're a little bit more rich and easier to mix up your colors with the water, because the pigment's just a little bit heavier than what it is in the Cotman kit. So that first wash of blue that I used was just a little bit too light, so I'm going to go in and add just a little bit more to it. Now this was wet when I put it down. The background was still wet, so this is really where your paint is wet is where this paint wants to go. So I'm going to deepen that up just a little bit, being very careful as I go around the lighthouse area. And we'll blend that a little bit. So that doesn't look quite as gray now as it did when I first put that light wash down there. Now, because I'm only showing you how to change out the sky in this one, I do want to let you know that I have a full online class if you like this painting. It's very similar to this. It's of Portland headlight, and it's a simple version, even for beginners. Also, I'll post a link for you down below. And if you use this coupon code YouTube Lighthouse, you can get the class for only $15. It's normally, I think, $44.99 US dollars. So if you want to try that out, I show you how to draw, sketch it out. We also have a PDF in there, and then I cover from start to finish on how to create the full painting. So what I was using here is white gouache made by Winsor Newton, and this is more of an opaque watercolor paint, and I've covered this in many of my other videos. I'll post a couple links here for you with some other classes that I have done on YouTube, and you get a better idea of what it is. But it comes in little tubes, and I used it here wet, so a lot of that blended in. It really softened. And I took the blow dryer to it, and you can see how much nice bright white this is now since that's dry. And we're going to go ahead and put in just a little bit more clouds in here with a brighter white, and you will see the difference. See how much more vibrant that white is now? Well, that blue is not wet, so you can get those really white fluffy clouds in there. Now the more that you work this in and wet it, the more it picks up that blue underneath. So if you want to have the real bright white, just make sure you're not mixing that too much, and you'll get the real bright colors in there. So I'm just curious how many people have actually gone in and reworked a watercolor before. So if you have reworked your watercolor and you have some tips or some tricks that you want to share with us, just comment down below. Yes, I've reworked, and give us a little tidbit that you might have to share. And if you've had some struggles reworking a watercolor, you feel free to share those with us as well. You know, what kind of things that you're struggling with when you go back into to rework a watercolor. So I'm going to add, because I added a little bit of blue in some of those places I didn't want to, I'm going to pop in a little bit more of that opera rose color in here for more highlights for our roses. And then I just tapped in a little bit of the white gouache in there just to pop those out a little bit more. And just because that sky is a little bit darker, I'm going to deepen that water as well. Give it a quick blow dry, and now everything's been touched up. You can see how that was pretty easy to touch it up. You could take the pen, and if something needs to be reworked, I'm going to do a little bit of the pen and ink on here as well. I like to do a lot of the mixed media. That's more my style with watercolor, and I like to do lots of washes and layers with my watercolor. But I find for some of those really sharp details, it's just really easy just to use a Sharpie marker rather than getting yourself a very fine tipped brush and creating some black ink. Now this is very sharp contrast with this black because it's true black. Most watercolorists or traditional watercolorists will make their own black. But I really like the sharpness that this gives. We'll pop a few little birds in there as well, and a mat. And I have for you in the list in the Amazon supplies these mats. They do come in little kits with the little backer boards and the plastic sleeves, so it's great for standard size, and they fit into an 8x10 standard frame perfectly. So for next class that's coming up, my new online course, if you want to sign up for this and make sure that you are notified when it goes live, it's going to be these beautiful resin pendants that I'm going to be making, and I will have a coupon for you when this goes live. So head over to my website at www.kelliechasseffineart.com and make sure you're added to the newsletter so you don't miss that. So we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Have a great week.